All right, guys, what's happening? Happy Thursday to you. Man, guys, welcome to the Digital Contractor Podcast. It is episode 7, and I am here with a very special guest with you guys today, Mr. Gary Farmer. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on Gary here. Gary was a 20-year career automotive guy, and he did something similar to what I did in my career, which was crazy enough to jump out of what he was doing and into this crazy world of construction that we live in. But Gary has made a massive impact in his career in the construction industry in a very short period of time. And so I wanted to bring him on here and be able to open this up to open people's minds to the possibilities that exist in the construction industry, from the standpoint of how to take care of customers, how to prospect and acquire new customers, and how to really build a business within a business or to build a business from scratch within the construction industry. And this guy is an incredible example of what happens when you go all in on something and you have the skills and the motivation and the hustle to be able to pull that off. So, Gary, I really appreciate you being here, man, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
We were just talking before we got started here, and as you guys might be able to sense from the accent, this is an Alabama fan here. So anybody out there that's not a Crimson Tide fan, keep your comments to yourself because we're both fans of the Crimson Tide here. So let's jump into it, Gary. So tell the audience a little bit about kind of, where you've come from the automotive side of things first, and the 20 years that you spent there. What did you do? What kind of success did you have? And then we'll dig into the construction side.
Okay, I started selling cars here in Cocoa Beach, and I on my first day I knew that it was going to be okay. Everybody said, "Oh man, you going into car sales?" Well, I walked into the sales meeting and I asked who the salesman of the year was. And it was a guy named Gene Hurst, and he's been there 20 years. And I said to him, I said, "Mr. Hurst, I hope you have enjoyed that, because as long as Gary Farmer's working here, you will never achieve that goal again." And, it took off because my dad was the assistant deputy director at NASA. And, I started getting a lot of referrals from him. I went out and touched all the banks, the credit unions, started, getting all these referrals. You had to make an appointment with me to purchase a car. Then I got promoted to a desk guy and done a real good job, then a GSM. Then I went to NADA school and became a dealer in Atlanta, and sold the automotive dealership here a couple years ago, and took, about a year off to just let me unwind, because, the funniest thing, what people don't understand, you come in Monday, you got $10 million in your checking account, right? Well, you have a good Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you come in the next Monday, you're negative 4,500. And you're like, what in the hell has happened? And it's because the cars you sold, you got to pay off. The cars you took in trade, you got to pay off. And you got to pay out the commission to the salesperson. That stressed me out there for a pretty good while. And I seen this roofing opportunity, and I started implementing some of the things that I forced my salespeople to do at the dealership. And in 90 days, I've sold $1 million worth of roofs.
Amazing, man. Amazing. So I just want to give everybody some background. So Gary and I met just recently here through, obviously, my business partner in lead revenue through Brett Sutherland. So I assume you guys had a relationship through the digital side of things in the automotive space, correct?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, Brett I knew very little about digital. I took over a store that was losing $1 million a year to give us 6 months to turn it around. It was pulled in the franchise. I got in touch with Brett, and for the year, I ended up 277% in net profit. I made $1.8 million for the year. And you can walk in Detroit and walk in Ford headquarters, and there's my name on a big plaque. I mean, the record has not been beat today.
He just told me that story. He said, man, I used to go to Ford, on the OEM side, and I'd walk in there and there was Gary's name right on the wall inside of Ford headquarters. So he was telling me the same story. Then he started telling me the story of kind of the situation that you were in at that dealership and needing to turn it around. And so the importance of digital, we'll dig into that on the contractor side, because I think you probably see some of that as well. But talk about the transition, man, from, being in the auto space for 20 years, selling that dealership. So you arrive in the construction world, and I can relate to this. I'm curious to hear your perspective on it, because I remember what happened to me. I spent a lot of time in technology in corporate America, and then I show up in a construction yard, and I'm like, first week, I was like, what the heck did I get myself into here, right? But once you start to settle in, walk me through kind of what that looks like from a perspective of, your first week, your first month on the job, and what you figured out were the differences between those two.
Well, when I first arrived to sell roofs, I noticed that nobody's keeping track of any leads. Nobody's really keeping track of any phone calls. And I was just like, man, I'm not used to this. So I started putting in my way of doing business of what I learned from the car business. And in the first 30 days, I had sold like $300,000 in roofing sales and didn't even know nothing about roofing. I didn't even know how to measure a roof. I mean, I really didn't, and it's all about putting putting people before profit. It's my philosophy. And because I grew up next door to Truett Cathy, you know who Truett Cathy is?
Of course, Chick-fil-A, yeah.
Absolutely. I grew up next door to him, and he always told me that as a young man growing up, and it's always stuck, with me. And I started doing that, man, and here I am 90 days later. I've sold $1 million, in roofs, and working 6 hours a day versus 80 hours a week, in the car business. I mean, I missed my children growing up. I went through a horrible divorce that cost me, about $1 million. And I said, my God, I took some time off and I just wanted to try it, man. And people, if you are not doing the things I'm telling you, if you are not following up with your leads, you call the phone, these guys were just hanging up. Well, guess what? You have a 98% chance of them getting right back with you if you send them a text. The phone is with everybody wherever they are. I don't care where they are in the house. That phone is right there with everybody. They might see that number. They might not answer because they don't know who you are. They think you're spam or something. But you send them that text, and tell them who you are. And man, I'm telling you, they'll call you right back within a minute. I mean, it's just amazing of how things from the automotive side of things, you carry to contracting, and it's unbelievable. When I tell you unbelievable, I mean, it just blew my mind. It's blown everybody's mind because I've sold more year to date than everybody in our office combined.
Yeah, it's incredible, right? When you think about the differences between automotive, and we were talking about this before we jumped on here, but I think it's very valid information for the people listening and watching. When you look at, and I was in the wireless business, right? Selling cell phones. So very similar, like, man, you call people, nobody wanted to talk to you, right? In the construction world, everybody wants to talk to you, right? In the automotive dealership, somebody walks in and they're like, oh no, not a sales guy, right?
Exactly.
In the construction space, and you tell me if you agree with me, they're like, man, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy somebody called me back. I'm so happy somebody just answered the phone and is a quality, knowledgeable person to speak to. And to your point, man, you do not have to have all the answers to be able to be successful in construction sales of any sort. You have to be able to solve the customer's problems and be resourceful enough to be able to figure out how to do that.
Absolutely, man.
Do you find that to be the same? And what has been your experience in being able to take those behaviors from automotive and implementing them here? What does your close rate look like in this space on the roofing side?
90%. 90%, and I'm going to get Brett, to start doing, I got with my owner, and we're going to start using Brett, for the digital, because at my Ford store, I mean, he's the one that got me to 277%. I got the recognition, but he taught me other things to do on the digital side to get me there. And I did it when, people in Atlanta, they really wasn't doing that much of it. But I listened to Brett, I did, man. And because, I mean, his father, has 8, 9 stores in Atlanta. And I listened to him. And this is a guy who don't even have to work, man. He started Fusion Zone, got rid of that. Now he's got this, and he's implementing the things that he had in Fusion Zone. And for Toyota to use Fusion Zone, Southeast Toyota, let me tell you something. You are the man, period.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And I'm glad you see that. It's such a gift to have somebody with that level of knowledge in the construction space. I've been in it for 10 years now, and digital is really just starting to kind of take hold, right? To really start to be a requirement. And Brett and I talk about this all the time, but those that don't become adaptable to the digital side of things, we believe that there will be consolidation and things like that happening in the construction space, similar to what's happened in automotive, right? Those dealerships that weren't at the forefront of digital and marketing and presence online, they have been purchased by those larger corporations that want, a lot of dealerships across the country or in a region. So what is the single biggest difference in the sales process and the sales interaction that you've noticed from automotive to now being in construction?
It's just like you said, when people when people call you, you answer the phone, you get right back with them, you show up, they're so happy to see you. I mean, and you connect with that person as soon as you get there. And it's nothing like cars, because cars, people, oh no, I want to look at it by myself, or I want to do this, I want to do that. Construction people, man, I mean, they're like, oh my God, thank you for coming. I mean, you can't get a construction worker out there, to me, it seemed like, to work. Their work ethic is horrendous to compare to what you have to learn in the automotive field. It's night and day. And I just continue doing what I've done, and I can't say I'm making more money than when I own my store.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's almost hard to believe. Were you questioning whether it was real or not before you got into it?
No, because I bought into it. I started looking at people's their websites and stuff. They had no Google page, no artificial intelligence. They had none of that stuff. And I'm like, my God. Then I found out Brett was doing this. I said, oh my God. I said, I got to get in touch with Brett, because I mean, I'm telling you, anybody that uses Brett Sutherland, if you're not up 120% in 90 days with your leads, it's free. I mean, he is amazing, man. I mean, these other people, these young kids coming out of college, they come and they try to sell you this, like they did us at my work. They do this and do that, and the leads are it's just not there. I mean, Brett gets you filtered leads that it's just amazing, man. I mean, I'm so excited that this is so easy. I work, basically from, 7:30 to 3 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock. And, I'm on pace this year, working just 6 months to make like $600,000.
So $600,000 in 6 months, and you're just getting started, and you don't really have any inbound leads, correct?
No. I mean, we've got a few, but the few leads that we got, guess what kind of leads they are? They're people calling us, trying to sell us to do digital with them.
Well, it's good to know they won't be successful.
No, absolutely.
So let me ask you this, man. For anybody that's out there listening that's considering, getting into construction sales, what would you say the top 3 things are that somebody needs to possess to be successful selling to construction clients? What are the three things? And I know it's simple, right?
It's very simple.
Simple answer.
You put people before profit. Okay. Have charisma and take care of people after the sale. If you go to our website, I mean, they didn't even have any Google reviews. Our website now is filled up with 5-star reviews from me. You know, referrals are coming in like crazy. You know, I just signed NASA. I just got NASA's contract. That's pretty big.
That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. That's incredible, man. And so what do you think? What is your goal for the next 12 months, being in this position that you're in? Like if you're dreaming big, you're thinking, you know, how much can I possibly do? What do you think that looks like for you in a single season? What do you think you can produce?
I think with when I get everything hooked up with Brett and everything, I think myself, I can make $2 million a year, like breaking sticks.
I love it, man. I love it.
I mean, it's that easy. I mean, because the car industry is 10 years ahead of the construction business. A minimum. Yeah. It might even be 15.
Yeah, you are correct, man. Brett says the same things. And by the way, none of this happened. We didn't discuss any of this before we got on here, but it's literally the things that Brett says all the time. Like he said, I remember when automotive was in the same position that the construction industry was in. And using that same playbook, we're able to unlock people, you know, massive amounts of opportunity. I mean, to give you an idea, you know, our company is up several 100% over last year as a result of, you know, digital efforts combined with sales efforts, things like that. But it all has a foundation of if you're not front and center with people and have a solid message with a lot of frequency, you're going to have a challenge of connecting with people in today's world. Because we all know everybody's got a phone in front of them and everybody's checking that phone nonstop. And if you don't show up on that thing, then you're out of sight, out of mind, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, you call the customer back, you know, and nobody answers, right? What does people in construction do? They keep on going. You text that guy and tell him who you are. You know, and you got an appointment within 60 seconds. People say, how do you do it? I said, it's basic. It's not being a superstar. I mean, I can sell, yeah, but I'm not Superman. I can't stop, you know, don't take a silver bullet to kill me or none of that, you know. It's just doing what I've been taught in the car business and in construction business. It's just knocking it out of the park. I mean, I never seen this. You know, here I was getting ulcers and everything, you know, worrying about my bank account going from 10 million one week to a negative 45,000 the next. Here, I ain't got no money invested. And you know, I'm just selling roofs and making money like crazy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Are you a selfie video guy, Gary? Are you sending people video messages?
Oh, absolutely. I just did a video of a guy that's 90 years old. I just sold him a roof, right? 90 years old. This man is dancing on the showroom. It got 3,300 likes on Facebook and got shared, I think, 37 times.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Yeah. It is. And to summarize all this, guys, you know, construction sales, and I say this all the time, man, but it is what you said. It's putting people first, you know, being real with people. It's probably the thing that makes the construction industry most attractive to me, man, is the people that are in it. You know, it's really, you know, that traditional, you know, what you would view stereotypical blue collar industry and what it feels like and kind of that wholesome feel. You know, most of these businesses are family businesses that have been grown from the ground up. The people really love to interact with those businesses. There's a different feel to it. I think you would agree with that.
Absolutely, man. You know, and when you go to the customer's house, you know, don't talk to them with your sunglasses on. Take your sunglasses off and look at them eye to eye. You know, don't walk up with a cigarette in your hand. You know, and I see some of these guys. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm yelling at them from the car. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
You know, it's just basic stuff, man. Basic stuff.
I like to say, man, business is as simple or as complicated as you want to make it, right? And many times I think
100%.
we overthink it, or we're just not aware enough to be present in that situation. And if you guys aren't taking something away from this, my goal of this podcast was to expand people's minds, right? To be able to show them that by doing very simple things over and over again correctly, you can produce just massive results, right? And I, being a person that's been in the industry for 11 years now and coming from a similar background, man, I think whatever you're saying you think is possible, it's probably a few times over that, right? It's probably
it's unbelievable. And my dad, when I first got in the car business, he said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're going to be a car salesman, this, that, and the other." You know what he got for Christmas that year?
A car?
My W-2.
That's great.
You know what he's going to get this year?
Another one?
My 1099.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And I'm so glad and humbled that you were willing to come on here, man, and talk to people and be able to share your story, because what it is, man, and I see this all the time. It is, it takes grit, determination, motivation, treating people right. But those things should be fairly price of admission or simple things for people to be able to execute on. And, in the construction space, in roofing or in paving like we do, you can see ordinary people like you and I do extraordinary things with just, being able to treat people right and putting the customer first, like you say, putting people over profits. And it really is a great feeling, man, to be able to deliver people a quality product when they're obviously concerned about whether that's going to be the case or not. The construction industry gets a bad name for a lot of reasons. And guys like you are able to go out there, treat people right, give them the product that they deserve to have for the money, that the valuable money that they've probably been saving over a long period of time to get that project completed. And that's what it's all about. That really is the return on the investment of time that you spend. Is the feel good stories that come out of it are incredible, right?
It's crazy. And now, my owner of Can-Am Roofing, who I work for, he's getting his general contracting license now. So now I'll be able to sell everything.
Amazing, man.
I mean, I tell you, for me, I could go to work anywhere I wanted to in the car business, make $300,000 or $400,000, just a fact. But to come here and seem like you're working part-time and have family time and enjoy getting up, going to work, it's just mind-boggling. And tripling as an owner, the most money I made, I think, was right at $678,000. Here I am selling roofs, gonna make $1 million. I mean, simply by putting the things in place and the processes that I learned in the automotive field.
Well, man, there is no better commercial for people to get into construction sales than the masterclass that you just put on about why it's a good idea. And so,
if these owners that's watching your show, if they do not do it, they are costing themselves millions and millions of dollars. I mean, they really are. Yeah,
it's incredible, man. So I thank you, brother, for being here. Any final words for the audience on anything, any tips or any advice?
If I'm available to anybody that needs any help, and I don't mind giving you my personal cell phone number. I care about people. Okay. I want people to achieve the things that I have achieved, and I want people to surpass me. My personal cell phone number is 321-616-4212. Gary Farmer. If you're having a bad day, call me. I will pump you up and tell you what to do to get out there and hit your goal.
Amazing, man. I just put it in the comments for people that are watching live. For those of you who are listening, it'll be listed in the podcast platform, so you guys can go give Gary a call, get some advice from him, get fired up from him. And Gary, man, I look forward to it. We talked offline about, in the future, you doing some speaking things, and I'd love to talk more about that, brother, because we got a lot of people that need to hear what you have to say. So I appreciate the time today, man. I hope everybody enjoyed this and got fired up from listening to this, man. Becoming a 7-figure earner in construction is a feat, and you were able to do it in a very short period of time. And I just appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. And for all of you guys listening out there, until next time, we will see you again on the Digital Contractor Podcast. Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next time.